Who was Huey Newton? Well, Huey Newton was born in 1942 in Louisiana and later relocated to Oakland, California. Yet, despite the passing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964 and the Voting Rights Act in 1965, Huey still experienced and witnessed discrimination, as well as police brutality. And in 1965, Malcolm X was murdered. Now, in 1966, less than a year later, Huey Newton met Bobby Seale while attending Merritt College, and there, together, they formed the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Now, the goal of the Black Panther Party was to address police brutality and empower Black communities through armed self-defense, community programs, and advocacy. Under Newton's leadership, the Black Panther Party grew and gained widespread attention due to their flashy outfits, but most notably, their armed weapons that they were legally allowed to carry. Newton's efforts were to organize individuals who were legally registered, legally bought, and legally carried weapons, and taught them what their rights were. And anytime there was a confrontation, the Panthers would arrive, state their rights, and defend Black communities. Unfortunately, this led to many confrontations between the Black Panther Party and law enforcement. And on October 28, 1967, Newton was arrested in relation to a murder of a police officer. The trial of Huey Newton was highly publicized, and many people protested for his release. And in 1970, Huey Newton was in fact acquitted of charges. Now, something super interesting is in 1970, after his acquittal, he received an invitation from Chairman Mao of China, of the People's Republic of China, to come to China. And after learning that Nixon would be arriving in 1972, Newton decided to beat him to it. So Huey Newton and two members of the Black Panther Party arrived in China and met Chairman Mao and stayed here for 10 days. Nixon later arrived in February of 1972. After returning to the U.S. from China, Newton was again charged with several violent offenses, which led to him fleeing the United States for Havana. But he did come back to the U.S., and when he did, he stood trial for those charges and was also acquitted of both accounts. At this time, the Black Panther Party is beginning to face infighting because of desires for different messaging. Huey Newton's goal had always been for Black empowerment, so he wanted the party to focus on social programs, whereas Elbridge Cleaver's goal was to focus more on international relationships and advocacy. This, of course, led to the fracturing of the party and eventually its decline. In 1989, Huey Newton was murdered as he left a drug den where he had been holding a social program. He was killed by Robinson, a member of the Black Guerrilla Gang and a drug dealer. His last known words were, "You can kill my body and you can take my life, but you can never kill my soul. My soul will live forever." And then Robinson shot him in the face 2 times. Now, Newton left a long legacy of empowerment, advocacy as a revolutionary leader. His contributions to Black liberation are notable and should never be forgotten or rewritten, should not be labeled as terrorist activity or militant. His goal was Black empowerment through armed legal self-defense. And his contribution to the struggle for civil rights and his commitment to challenging systemic oppression still inspire people today. The more you know.